The class bell will ring in 5 seconds. I'm Buster Jones, facilitator for the Reflections program. Welcome all of you to our, I guess you might call it our summer series. However, we have a program every month and would hope that you'll participate the rest of the year. We've got some other exciting programs lined up. No dancing girls or marching bands yet. Yeah, we'll work on that. Yeah, particularly if you're interested in watching the program, it is being recorded and will be stored on Katie in the Brandon Oaks video presentation tab or folder, and you look forward to other Reflections programs on Katie. They'll be in the calendar there, and also on the calendar that you get to stick on your refrigerator door. So coming up, and I want to particularly thank Teresa for the technical assistance and keeping us all lined up and photographs and all of that. I've got to say it has been super fun to work with Lynn and Sandra in the development of this presentation. I have never, well, not never, but you can tell she's an elementary school teacher. Every detail, and in your seats, little fun things to do and remind you, as she'll talk about these later, but it's just been great fun to work with the Stewarts. And a question that it has brought to my mind, thinking back in the day, who was my favorite teacher? Think about that just a minute. Who was your favorite teacher? And then not just who, but why. Two very quick, my geometry teacher in about, I guess, the 10th grade, and I recall something that she said to me more than once. She said, "Do something, Jones, even if it's wrong." And then the public speaking teacher that I had as a senior said, "Always remember in public speaking to stand up, to speak up, and shut up." So with no further, very quickly, the Stewarts have chosen as a title for their presentation, you probably saw this either probably on the bulletin board, but they chose Touching the Future Through Teaching. And you may say something about this, but I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to repeat it because the fine print at the bottom is adopted from a statement the astronaut Krista McAuliffe. Y'all, I'm sure will remember that she's one of the few who died in launching of the Challenger spacecraft. But she said, as a teacher, said, "I touch the future, I teach." So let's hear some reflections from Sandra and Lynn and see about touching the future in their past.
Thank you. Now, I'm supposed to do about 14 minutes, and I will talk fast. So let me get this ready. I dug up some pictures that might help. And also, the white sheet, if you didn't know, is your homework for tonight or whenever you have time. And the little bag is for, I usually give those at the end of the day to my first day of school students so it'll make a connection with parents. Okay. Hello. First, I would like you to meet the teacher telling my story as seen through the eyes of some children I taught. Oh, what happened to the other one? Okay, there's the first one. Oh, why is it not going now? Oh, no. What's wrong with it not going?
Forward arrow.
I am. Please don't do this to me.
Forward arrow.
Forward arrow. Oh, I hit something here. Maybe that's it. Oh, there we go.
Here we go.
It's rolling. Now I'm gonna go back one more time. Okay, this is in a classroom. And I think I'm on the right one now. That's me in the green dress in the classroom. Oh, I may have to have a mic. I didn't think it was going to move. Okay. This is from Sarah. I had skinny legs back in those days. I'm the teacher up there. And Mrs. Stewart, I think you're my best teacher. I think you're smart, nice. I think you're my best teacher in the world. I didn't get notes from all the kids, by the way. Now, this is a really funny one. Happy Valentine's Day. I know I get on your, it's supposed to be nerves. It is hard to teach me, but you are one of a kind. Your secret admirer. It's love, man. And then over at the far right, I think it's my first year of teaching at Southview Elementary School. And the mother came in one morning. She wrote a note and sent an egg. And she said, Martha will miss art today because in spite of my medical, I can't even read it over here. I cannot suck the egg out of the hole for the art project. And please help Martha do that. I don't remember what the project was, but I thought, well, that was probably stupid. Okay, now, as he wanted us to tell something about myself. And, oh, by the way, there is going to be a pop quiz. Maybe I should have had one. I didn't think I'd be moving. There is going to be a pop quiz at the end, so you need to be really good listeners, okay? On April 23rd, 1945, I was the sixth child born into what would become a family of 9 children. My father was a sign painter with an off-and-on drinking problem. My mother sewed and altered clothes for people in addition to making clothes for us. We lived on the cusp of Appalachia. In a wood frame house with a tin roof and 2 rooms upstairs and 2 downstairs, built by my grandfather, who died before I was even born. The house was heated with a coal-powered stove downstairs with the pipe running through a hole in the 2nd floor to warm upstairs. We had no running water. We kids had to go through the woods where a stream of water coming from the bottom of a hill formed a small but deep pool where we could dip our buckets to get them filled and lug them home. Occasionally, Mom would warm up some of that on her wood stove and pour it in a big tin tub so we could have a special bath. Usually, though, it's what we called a spit bath, if you've ever heard of that. She'd give you a warm wash rag and you washed yourself off and went to bed. We did have a Johnny house. Now, the one you see here was not ours, but it's very much like that. Is actually on a puzzle called Nature Calls on 2nd floor if you're interested in working that puzzle. Okay. Early on, we had no electricity. I remember having oil lamps, but I think that changed when I started in 1st grade. We had a creek that ran by the bottom of the hill that we would dam up and splash in until our hands wrinkled, knowing we would have leeches stuck to our toes when we got out. Our house wasn't insulated, so the condensation on the inside of the tin roof would freeze, letting us use our fingernails to write and draw pictures until our fingers froze. We would pull back the cardboard that covered the eaves and, to our delight, would find baby mice. Best of all, we played lots of baseball. An uncle of the kids down at the bottom of the hill was the pitcher. He sat in a wheelchair, having been paralyzed in an accident working for the government's CCC program. He couldn't use his legs, but he had a great throwing arm. In some ways, my early childhood was idyllic. I thought every kid lived like us. Soon it came time. Oh, I forget. These are some more pictures. That's me on the right. That's me on the left. We always got at least an Easter basket and a doll for Christmas. In between wasn't much. And sometimes Mother would make us the dolls. Oh, here it goes again. Oh, okay. Soon it came time for me to start school. I couldn't wait to get on the bus with 5 older siblings riding over Curry Roads to Valley Institute School. It was built in 1919 for grades 1 through 11. There were no indoor bathrooms, and potbelly stoves heated the room. There were about 40 or more kids in my class. Now, this is my baby sister's. Oh, by the way, did I show you my family? Did they ever show up? There were only 8 children there because baby Teresa hadn't been born yet. She was the baby. I'm showing you this picture. My baby sister is right in front of the teacher with the little blue and a sweater. That's baby Teresa. And this is 10 years after I was in first grade. And there were 47 kids in that class. So, 2 events in first grade affected me. I got my only paddling there. I had no idea why. I was humiliated by my first grade teacher. And worse than that is one day a classmate who lived up the hall from us dropped her tray coming back from the cafeteria. We had to eat in the rooms. And the next day she wouldn't go. And I knew she was scared she'd drop it again. So the teacher yelled at her, tugged on her, hit her till she managed to extricate the poor girl and drag her down to the cafeteria crying. Right then and there, I said to myself, I'm going to grow up to be a teacher, and I won't be mean to kids. I didn't keep that every time. I have to take them out in the hall occasionally and talk to them. Okay, then, let's see if this is right. Why is it not going where I want it to? It's got this little thing in it. Buster, what am I doing wrong? Why is it not advancing? Oh, it's that little. There. Oh, and one more. Okay. I'm not holding my mouth right or something. I'm talking too fast. That's what's wrong. When I started 8th grade, John S. Battle High School, named after the governor of Virginia, was built, merging several elementary schools. And that's when, at the time, I became aware of the haves and the have-nots. At home, we still had no running water. And older siblings had moved on. So guess who the water carrier was? Me. And by then, I was really conscientious about, people knowing where I lived and what I didn't have and all this stuff. So Highway 858 ran by the house, and I got the idea that somebody from school might see me walking through the woods to get and carry back the water. So I would get it, and then I'd hide behind a big tree when a car went by. And then I'd sprint when it's clear, and then hide behind another tree and skip until I got home. Okay? That paid off, though, because I ran track in high school, and no one could beat me on the 100-yard dash. And you remember those baseball times? I played softball in high school and rarely failed to hit a home run every time I got up to bat. So my childhood paid off. In high school, this is another picture of John S. Battle High School. In high school, I studied hard and made good grades. In the summers, I worked at Parks Belk. And earn money to actually buy fabric. At that time, I'd learned from Mother how to sew, and I made most of my clothes. And so but my senior year came, and I had no idea how I'd ever get to go to college. Well, guess what? It was a teacher who changed my life. Mrs. Browning, a science teacher at Battle, stopped me in the hallway one day to tell me about Berea College in Berea, Kentucky. It is a school without tuition. You have to be moneyless to be able to get there, and of course good grades, and you have to work. So she and her husband had both gone to Berea. They made arrangements. I'm sorry if you can't hear me. They made arrangements for me to get to Berea and to see what school life was, and then I was accepted in August 1963 to come to Berea. Oh, sorry. Help me remember these. There's Berea College, and there's beautiful campus, and it's more than just that one building. It's more than just one building, okay? There were about 40 or more, sorry. At Berea, I majored in elementary education. I spent a semester doing my student teaching in a first grade classroom with a wonderful teacher who mentored me. I also spent shorter periods of time in different levels in that same school. I think it's Berea Elementary School. For 3 consecutive summers during my college years, I worked at Valleydale Meatpacking Plant in Bristol. And Lynn, don't you tell that story. I earned enough money to buy books and other essentials for school. I was finishing my third year of college when my longtime boyfriend, who was set to graduate from UVA that summer, asked me to marry him. Of course, I said yes. I used part of my earnings to buy fabric to make my wedding dress, my mother's dress, 3 bridesmaids' dresses, a flower girl's dress, and a silk pillow for the ring bearer. And Lynn and I married in September 3rd, 1966, and headed straight for Berea. Oh, this is the motto for Berea. It's non-denominational. At the time I was there, is God hath made of one blood all nations of men. Since then, they've changed it to God hath made of one blood all peoples of the world. I like the other one better. And that's close to my graduation time because that was the May dance in my 4th year of college. Okay, we set up house in a cheap and cheaply furnished, I don't think I have it. A cheaply furnished apartment in walking distance of campus. While I worked to finish my last year of college, Lynn worked hard at his first year of teaching in a high school 25 miles away in Richmond, Kentucky. So how did we manage it up in Roanoke? A bulletin board in the main building of the college listed people who were coming to campus to hire people, seniors seeking jobs. Well, I checked the board and saw that a Mr. Con Davis from Roanoke County School Systems had signed up, so I signed up to have an interview with him. Mr. Davis is very pleasant, made me feel very comfortable because I was really nervous, like now. The interview went well, and by the end, Mr. Davis pretty much assured me of a job teaching 2nd grade in one of the elementary schools. Then I had to break the news that I was married and my husband would need a job, and he was a teacher too. When I told him my husband was a physics teacher at a nearby school, he immediately stopped working with me and got in his car and drove straight to Richmond, Kentucky, found Lynn, and offered him a job teaching at Northside High School right on the spot. Seems like the physics teacher had been fired, and I won't tell you why, and they were desperate for a physics teacher, so I got to tag along. And the nice thing was the elementary teacher where I was going was at the foot of the hill, Southview Elementary and Northside, and we only had one car, so serendipity, I guess. It worked. Okay, now to tell you more. Okay, here we go. Now to tell you more about my actual teaching, which is going to be, and I forgot to push the clock, so if it's longer than 14 minutes, I'm in trouble. This is my first year. I had, when I started teaching, my overriding goal was to do everything I could to get students to love school and to love learning. Okay, the picture, this is the first year of picture. The first year of class, I had 30 students, a little better than old times. And my second year, oh, sorry, now I'm going to mess up again. The second year of college, of my teaching at Southview, I had 33 students. And then, this is my third year. And I want you to notice the boy on the very bottom row. His name is Bill Thompson. He got in touch with about 7 years ago through our daughter's wedding announcement in Roanoke paper, and he's like part of the family. In fact, we have on display some things that he's an artist. He's what is it? I can't think now. He is also a professor of art at the University of Hartford in Hartford, Connecticut. And he's illustrated books by himself and wordless books, and then also for other authors. Okay. All right. I love teaching after 3 years. This type A, hyperactive, perfectionist teacher went home every day exhausted. I decided to take a little time off to start to try a family. But after one semester, I found myself back in the classroom at East Salem Elementary School, replacing a teacher who left because of her husband's job had been transferred to Roanoke. Now, that should have come up there. Oh, I should have come up. I'm sorry. This is a picture of our grandsons done in pencil, colored pencil, by the artist I was telling you about. And here he is visiting us 50 years later. He's a father of 3 sons, so he knows what we're going through, 3 grandsons. And that's Luke, our grandson, who wants to write a book with Bill Thompson. Now, at East Salem, the rage even started when I was graduating from college, was open space classrooms. So at East Salem, they tore down a wall between 2 classrooms and said, here's your open space classroom. This picture is the boys only. There were just as many girls in that big classroom. The other girl got pregnant so she could leave. And but some of those kids there were better than some of the 5 or 6 I'm teaching in later years. As times have changed, okay? Well, I found out, I finished that year. I did one more year and found out in spring that I had finally gotten pregnant. We had tried for some time. So I left the classroom and became a stay-at-home mom. That picture's taken for the North Side newspaper. I stayed at home with the children. Karen Hammond took that picture. We were on a trip together. We got really close, and she's moving in here pretty soon on the 3rd floor. In January, I stayed busy until they started middle school. I stayed busy, really involved in PTA and then formed a children's church at my local church, the church we were attending. Now, here's the thing. At that time, pay in Roanoke County was frozen for 2 years for teachers. Had we had one more child, if we had our 2 in kindergarten, if we had one more child, they would have qualified for free lunch. That tells you a little bit about teacher salaries. We don't like to gripe, but it's not a high-paying job. Okay. When I re-entered the teaching profession after our children started middle school, I made sure that my classroom was colorful, organized. And the thing I did is try to do a lot of fun things because that's what keeps kids engaged. Okay. After finishing this, here's some of the fun things. And a lot of it, by the way, keep in mind that a lot of these things I had to pay out of my pocket for the supplies, but it's something I really wanted to do for the kids. After finishing an SOL unit about Egypt, I made cookie dough that did not have to be chilled, and I would made a mummy outline on foil, and I gave them their dough after they washed their hands, and they had to fill in that foil and use toothpicks to fashion the eyes and everything. Then it went to the cafeteria to be baked. When it came back, they wrapped decorating tissue paper around it, put it in a bag that had been designed like a sarcophagus. Okay, and another fun activity, economics, and this is one that came from Central, from the science supervisor, making ice cream in a Ziploc bag. And I set up for economics, I made 2 teams of assembly line, and they all had their job, and I won't take the time, but one had to pour the milk, one had to have the strawberry, one had to have the flavor and all that stuff. It took the class built in 2. Team 1 went first, and Team 2 went through the line and then laid their bag on their desk. And then Team 2 came up as the assembly line, and then the other team got to get their ice cream. Then they just smushed and smushed and smushed. They had to have ice. Part of the thing was somebody put ice in there and salt in the outside bag. And they smushed until their ice cream froze, and they loved it. A couple kids got salt in their ice cream, but it happens. Another one for life cycles. Every teacher does, well, every early elementary teachers do this. They abduct what is it? The little worms, caterpillars, and they're see, I'm forgetting. One of those moments. Monarch butterflies. You go along the roads. We went around the roads and found monarch butterflies. You put them in the aquarium with a lot of milkweed because they won't live without it. When they get fat and start crawling up the side of the aquarium, you know they're ready to make their chrysalis. Well, I did that the first year, and the kids, I can't see, move over, get out of my way. I thought next year there's something better. So what I did when they started crawling up the aquarium, I got an index card, put in there, and they crawled on the index card. I crawled on the chair and put them all on the ceiling. And they stayed there, and the kids saw 6 butterflies come out of 6 chrysalids and landed on their hands, and they went out and let it go. I thought that was a real good success. The last fun on it, then I'm running out of time probably. Then how am I doing? We always gutted a pumpkin. Everybody got a pumpkin, and they gutted the pumpkin, and they worked in a group, and they counted the seeds by tens, so it's math, teaching, measuring, and everything. And then they saw which pumpkin had the most seeds. And they was a messy, but they loved that one. Okay, now I could keep going on, but anyway, I'm running out of time. Actually, I taught as a substitute till COVID closed the schools. So I was substituting on this side of town when COVID closed schools. So that That's the end of I'm talking too close. Okay, for the most part, I enjoyed teaching. I worked hard, hoping I was making a positive impact on the students in my care. So, sorry, I've got very important ones here. This is Mason's Cove, Red Ribbon Week when we were fighting drugs. That was all the SCA things. It was my idea that I was in charge of it, and they wrapped red ribbons around the trees and had a big package that says, Mason's Cove, we're doing something tremendous. We're saying no to drugs, our gift to our community. This is kids. I love having them draw themselves. In fact, on back to school night, I forgot to mention this. I always traced their bodies while the others they were busy reading. Then they had to color their bodies. Then I'd make a cardboard spine so they'd sit in their seats and tape their little hands to the desk so that when the parents came in at night, I said, "This is the quietest class you'll ever find." You thought they were home in bed. Okay, and another one. Oh, come back here. I don't want to miss those. No, watch me this. Okay. Here's a class at Mountain View. Does anybody see anybody they know? Stand up if you do. The little girl in pink on the second row is Julie Eccles. She was quiet and sweet and dropped her tray one day, and the manager implored her little thing. She never said another word. That was so bad. It was a cranky cafeteria worker. I don't know if she ever got over that. She's still quiet, right? Oh, I hit something else. Is that the last one? This thing keeps coming up. That might be the last thing. This is another classroom, third grade. You see the classes are a lot smaller. When my grandkids came home, I retired, but I continued substituting. And they're teenagers now. They wore me out this past. Well, one's a teen, one's a preteen who acts like a teen, and the other sweet's compie. And I was with them 5 days until I got back this morning. And now it is time to turn it over to Mr. UVA. And I've stolen all of his time, I'm afraid. Thank you for being good listeners. I'll tell you that later. Okay, honey?
Maybe I'll just get through the pictures.
No. Oh, how much? I even forgot to start
It's
the timer.
3:30.
It's 3:30. Can y'all take just real fast time? Read it fast.
You ready for the good stuff?
It's the machine that took my time, right? Y'all agree the machine took my time? Okay, man.
Okay, hello, everybody.
Right here.
Hello, everybody. First thing I want to do is say a welcome to all, including the teachers who don't call themselves teachers. That would be the doctors, lawyers, engineers, and anybody that's in a position of leadership. You don't have any choice. You've got to be a teacher to work with those people. So I don't fall in the category of doctor, lawyer, engineers, but we have a bunch of those folks here at Brandon Oaks.
Parents.
As parents, yeah. So I've got a manuscript here that I can probably read pretty quickly. I don't talk quite as fast as Sandra does, but I'll have a better chance of getting through it this way. I would like to share my reflections of my teaching career, where it began, how it progressed over a 33-year period. Now let me introduce myself. I am Sandra Stewart's husband, a retired teacher and a proud resident of Brandon Oaks. We really like it here at Brandon Oaks, and I hope you do too. I'm also a UVA alumnus and an avid fan. You probably didn't know that. Okay. At UVA, where I attended college. I'm not there yet. Wonder who wrote this. Okay. I'm also a UVA alumnus. At UVA, I was a member of Pi Kappa Phi Social Fraternity. I also ran track on the track team, setting a school record in the 880-yard run at 153.3. I'm sure you'll remember that. I haven't forgotten it. I am also the very proud father of twins. Jennifer, a UVA graduate, and she also earned a master's degree in counselor education there and serves as a guidance counselor at Louisa, in the Louisa school system at Louisa High School. And her twin brother, Jonathan, is a graduate of Princeton University and UVA Medical School. He works here in Roanoke now at Carilion Roanoke Memorial, and we're extremely pleased to have him here. He also is a teacher. He teaches the residents in family practice. That's his specialty, family practice, for Carilion. And Sandra's added on a note here, I'm a hoarder, and actually the word I would use would be a collector of everything UVA. That would be shirts and shorts and hats and lots of other stuff.
No underwear. Size.
No, I've got a pair of underwear. You didn't even know that, did you? At UVA. At UVA, I spent 2.5 years on a course to be an engineer, electrical engineer. I reluctantly had to admit that my heart wasn't in it. Since many of my family members have been teachers, and I thought about that all along, my original occupation choice would have been teacher or some kind of religious work, in which case I would have gone to Carson Newman College, or engineer. And I remember the members of my church, when they sent the graduating seniors off to college, made the comment to me that I'd absolutely made the right choice, that I was going to make a lot of money as an engineer. Now, I haven't had that conversation with the engineers here, although we've had several meals with engineers. But as time went by, I ended up changing my mind and going with education. Most all my family members, and there were a lot of them, were involved in education. One was the superintendent of schools at Maryville High School, at Maryville, Virginia, Maryville, Tennessee. Another was the headmaster of a boarding school near Knoxville. I had more than 5, I think, aunts who were teachers, and my mother was a teacher. The story about my mother is she was a good teacher. I know that because I had her as a student for half of my 7th grade. The teacher at Valley Institute School decided he'd had enough, I guess, and he quit, and so she took over mid-year. She was also had good class control, and what happened there was a pistachio throwing contest between the boys in the classroom. I guess you call it a contest. Anyway, she observed it, brought us all up, her son included, and played no favorites and gave us a paddling. No problems from then on. And like I say, she was a very good teacher. She taught Latin at Bristol, Virginia Junior High, and so teaching started to appeal to me, and I found out that I could transfer all of my engineering credits, and I was in engineering school for longer than I should have been, but I transferred my engineering credits into education, and was able to qualify to teach physics. Well, I enjoyed that because I always had smart students, and they participated in hands-on experiments, which they enjoyed, and they were attentive to demonstrations in physics principles. If you've had a class in physics before, then you probably realize that as you progress through, particularly in high school, you get through the traditional course and then move on into what you'd call quantum physics. Now, quantum physics is just absolutely fascinating, and that's the part that I never got to because I just took too long making sure that my students understood what I was doing before that. I am going to tell you what quantum physics includes for the people who don't know. If people do know, I think you'll agree with me. Quantum physics is where the electron in the atom jumps from one energy level to another energy level, and you never see it anywhere in between. It's pretty wild. It's like walking down a set of stairs, and you're either on one step or you're on another step, but you don't exist anywhere in between those two steps. Is that wild or not? But that's part of quantum physics, and that's what I never got to. I've always felt bad about that. My first year, I think I got to it because I was so determined to stay on a schedule because I was so uncertain about what I should be doing. Okay. Also, part of my teaching, as far as I'm concerned, included coaching. I coached cross country and track as an assistant coach my first 10 years at Northside, and I thoroughly enjoyed the cross country part of it. And I found out after the children were born, the twins were born, that I was needed at home. At least I felt I was, and Sandra made that point also. So my remedy, my solution was just a quick coaching track, indoor. I coached indoor and outdoor, and just go with cross country. Well, that made things a lot better for me, and I think for the family. Yeah. Sandra says, uh-huh. Okay. Have you already gone through several of the pictures? Okay. That's the team that my children were on. So I had the pleasure of coaching them, carrying them back and forth to school, and more than once Sandra accused me of spending more time with the kids than she did, and she was right, and I enjoyed it.
Jennifer's fourth from the right, and Jonathan's right in front of him, in front of her, down. He's got all that hair.
Okay. Got some more pictures there.
Right.
That's at a cross-country meet. And Jonathan is the second one, the second over from the left.
And this means they won.
Yeah, we won that. We won the district and the regional that year. It was a very good team.
The girls, there was not a girls' team at first, and over time, he built up a girls' team that was just as good, if not better sometimes than the boys.
Okay. Can I see the next picture?
That is, you look right here. It's about
All right, here's a group of runners that I was extremely proud of. This was a picture taken by the newspaper photographer, and this story, the newspaper photographer here in Roanoke, and those runners were my top 5 runners. They were also terrific students. The storyline that the Roanoke paper emphasized was the grade point average, the cumulative grade point average for these 5.
5, 6. Oh, no, you're number 6. Sorry. 5.
Was, I think, 3.6, maybe 3.8. I've forgotten. We had several 4.0s on the team.
Yeah,
Jonathan was a 4.0.
No, 4.0.
And the boy to the right of him was also a 4.0. So I was real proud of that. I like to emphasize grades and character type things as we go. All right. One of the highlights of my career was, well, that's UVA track.
No, it's not.
And,
The UVA picture, but these,
yeah,
this view through the years.
all right, and
Quit arguing.
through the years,
I know what it says.
how many pictures do you think she had to sort through to pull these out?
Have changed. This is
She tells me 6,000. Do you have 6,000 pictures on your computer? If you do, that's not a surprise. Those things really add up
the
fast.
next picture is Lynn being a coach teacher.
Oh, yeah. My runners like to give me a hard time over that. So what would you think I was teaching at that point in time? One of the runners asked me when we were out for a run, Coach, how do I blow my nose when I'm running? And I said, well, you don't look for a Kleenex and actually don't even carry one with you. So I demonstrated the proper technique for blowing your nose while they're running. They never let me forget that one. Hold one nostril and let it go.
And that is the highlight of your career.
Okay.
That's the highlight of your career.
That's the highlight of my career. I do want to say a couple words about being at Brandon Oaks. I know I'm out of time.
His highlight of your year. That's your boys got together for your retirement celebration.
Yeah.
And the most important part. And that,
Yeah, that picture was taken at the end of my career. A couple of runners made a point to contact everyone who'd run cross country for me at Northside and encourage them to meet for a barbecue and bring their families, and they did. And we had, and part of that, one of the activities they participated in that day was to have a fun run, in which their goal was to beat the old man. I always tried my best to keep them running hard by not letting them beat me if I could. If they did, I bragged on it. And the race was around Hollins College. If you're familiar with the Hollins College faculty road and the loop that goes around it, that's where we ran. Several of them beat me for the first time, and I was so happy. It was okay. I was getting old. Now, I want to say a word about being at Brandon Oaks. One of the reasons we came here was that my children, Jonathan and Jennifer, strongly encouraged us to come here. They just figured, I think they didn't want to put up with us and remove stuff in our downsizing period. And several of you have probably been through that. We told Jonathan, don't worry, we can move into your basement. And Jonathan's quick response was, I think this was to Sandra, says, Mom, I've got plenty of money. We can take care of you if you run out. And there's a chance we will. You know, we're school teachers and didn't have very much investment. But another reason we came here was because of our good friend Jude Poe. She was the only person we knew here, but she encouraged us to come on, and we knew her through the Rose Society. She was a member there, and also when we came for those Rose Society Christmas dinners, we had a very good meal that was provided by Warren. Yeah, there was always good food, and we always gave him a round of applause when we were finished. Yeah. Okay. thank you for indulging me. And I know I probably didn't get to the quantum theory, but what? Oh, yeah. Those two young men there, we've maintained contact with all through our adult lives and still do. Those are the Scott twins. They were wonderful students. Basil had a 4.0 in electrical engineering at Duke, went on to work for the CIA, and Robert was a doctor. There's the plaque that they presented to me at the retirement dinner. It's up here on the table. Written by one of my runners, right. And incidentally, the retirement dinner was probably organized as much as anybody else by Steve Bowery. I don't know if there's any reason you'd know him, but you've probably seen his name on plaques at Mill Mountain Zoo, him and his wife, or at Senator Square in the aquarium area. He is an investment specialist and made pretty good money. So he's invested or made contributions to those two places. And a lifetime runner. Yeah. Steve also invited me to go for a run with him on his wedding day. And I did, and I was glad too. He wanted to settle his nerves. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Outstanding. Wasn't that fun? Now who's your favorite teacher?
Pop quiz. Lynn, you go pass
Okay.
that stuff.
Well, I want to thank Lynn and Sandra, and she's going to finish up with a typical elementary school activity.
Pop quiz. Okay, this will go fast. One of the things I did for classroom management worked great with the early kids to play the Skittles game. And I would have my hands clean, and if they'd line up, we'd play the Skittles game. And I'd say, okay, if you guess the color I pull out, you get another one. And so they did that, and that really helped. So if you win one of these, you get Skittles, okay? You've been great listeners, so thank you. Now, we can't get, I know this is going to be an easy one. Everybody's hand will go up, but we were going to limit 5 winners for this, okay? 5 packs. Lynn was a graduate of what college? Oh, hands up, Lynn, quick. Yeah, over here. 5 packs. And go fast, because we're way over time. Thank you all for waiting. I appreciate it. It's hard for 2 people to do it. Okay. Sandra graduated from what college? Berea College. Oh, you can only win once. Hurry up, get those hands up. Oh. Okay. What were Lynn's 2 jobs? Physics, teaching and track. Teaching and coaching, actually. Okay. So he said it. He gets it right here. Hands up. You don't get your prize. Anybody else have that one? Okay. Where did Lynn teach? Hand up. Oh, Becky got it. Becky right there. Oh, we can have 2 winners for that, okay? 2 winners for the next one. How many children were in Sandra's family? 2? My big, that back there's 1, and back in the back's Mary Catherine. Okay, 2 for this one. What was Sandra's birth order? 6th? Who said 6th? Hands up if you said 6th. Yep. And over here, Miss Eccles. Sylvia said it. Okay. When did Sandra's career in education begin? Oh, end. When did it end? COVID, who said that? Yep, Bob Miller's a winner.
Do you have a question in this? Did Tech have anything to say about anything?
We left them out. We left them behind. We left them in the dust. Lynn, Bob Miller got that one. Did anybody else say COVID? It ended when the COVID closed the schools? Okay. When did Sanders, in what event did Lynn set a UVA track record? In what event? Oh, you can't win but once. Give it to sure. Give it to his wife. Anybody else say 880? Just throw it up for grabs. Give it to anybody. Okay. Who inspired Lynn to become a physics teacher? Oh, Lynn, you didn't say this one. Strike that one out. It was his high school physics teacher, actually. He had a great high school physics teacher. Who set Sandra on the path to get a college? Oh, I didn't say that one either. Yeah, I did. It was a teacher. Didn't I say it was a teacher that changed my life? Okay, who said that? Okay, give gets one. Jan gets one. And who else said it was a teacher? I was so nervous I don't even know what I said. Who impacted Sandra's life to make her decide to be a teacher? Who impacted my life to make me decide I wanted to be a teacher? My first grade teacher. Yes. Anybody say that? Yep. These two ladies. Yep. That's when I decided I was going to be a nice teacher. I did have to be mean sometime. I had some rascals. Yeah. I never set them outside the door, though. I never set them outside. They're going to run away. So they would have to go back and talk or whatever. Okay. How many years did Lynn teach and coach? Did you say that? 33, yeah. Anybody else say 33? It's honor system. Name one of the hands-on activities Sandra had her students do. Ice cream. Yes, you got one. Oh, who else said one? I think Stan's over here scratching his head. What was the fun things they did? Lack of memory. I had that a lot. My principal came in the room one day, and I went, "Oh, Becky wants to talk to you." I had memory problem then. It just blanked out. Okay, anybody else? Okay, if you didn't get one, just how many more? Oh, just give them out till they run out. If you're interested in Skittles, just come up and get it. And you might, if you have time, you can look at the books that Bill. My student did, and Lynn's plaque. But Thompson. I have the kids make it up, and our 3 grandsons. Oh, time off. They're still listening.